get down to like the minutia of the movie. That's fun.
I
It's
think
not even a real movie, to be honest.
No, there's no plot. There's no hero's journey.
the funniest thing to me was explaining this to Tej, who is, not a generation, but just like a few years removed from that sort of craze, and be like, and him being like, "Were people actually doing this?" And we had to, yes, like we all
Yes,
just,
bro. We were inspired. Project X changed our lives. Not me, though.
That was
'cause I
our
was lame.
renaissance.
Project X being our Animal House is tough. But
People
Animal
legit
House is
died
tough.
at Project X parties, like out here in Katy. It was
It's
crazy.
Be Real. Smile for Be Real, y'all.
Smile for Be Real.
Yeah, it's Be Real.
Hey. Shout out to the podcast audience listening to us take a Be Real photo right now.
Yeah, absolutely. It's better than at like a funeral, the ones you see on like Twitter or whatever.
Oh God.
You ever seen those?
No.
You haven't seen that? Somebody's
yes,
like,
I have seen those.
had to be real, and it's just like at my uncle's funeral.
Like truly taking a picture of the open casket, and like Gen Z is like fully unhinged.
I just don't get Be Real, man. Like that doesn't sound like fun. Maybe it's because I'm an adult and all my friends are boring and have like jobs, so they're just at like their computers all day every day. But
you know what my Be Real would be? It'd be me getting waxed in Madden would be my Be Real photo. Like that's all it would be. Anyway, or Derek screaming at a bunch of kids. Like, is that your Be Real photo?
It's either that or just like me looking like I am like on the edge in a classroom because I'm so bored, because it's like we're reading Lord of the Flies or something, and I'm just like, this book sucks. Like, why are we reading this?
Have you started assigning 1984 to your kids to start giving them ideas about capitalism and stuff like that?
No, I just told them to go outside. Like, if you want to read 1984, look out your window.
Speaking of Lord of the Flies and barbaric acts.
Yeah, we're talking about transitions. We're talking about Barbarian this week. Welcome to the One Take Podcast, episode 123. We've been off for we've been off for a minute. Had to do a couple of throwback reviews, if you will. Something that we kind of got away from for a minute, but because movies were actually coming out. But it turns out the movie industry hates like the last 3 weeks of summer. Despise it. They didn't release anything. They released an Idris Elba fights a lion movie and Dragon Ball Z.
I watched Idris Elba stab a lion with a knife.
And I watched Dragon Ball Z.
We got to.
Right? And so they finally released a good film. They finally released a good movie. And even if it was a bad movie, I think we all would have still gone and seen it. But Barbarian. But if you heard that voice, Derek is back with us. I know that was like an 18-minute cold open, but yeah, Derek is back with us for the first time since Project X. You won't see Tej because he's breaking several California state laws right now, driving and podcasting. Which
Gavin Newsom is on your ass, Tej.
Hey, bro, gotta do what you gotta do for the content. Gotta do what you gotta do.
I'm not on this podcast, so what the fuck you guys are talking about?
Basically this is the evolution of Seinfeld's web series is now podcasting cars getting coffee. Yeah, so that was a very neat joke. Thank you very much.
Podcasters in cars getting citations.
Getting pulled over. Barbarian came out just a couple of weeks ago. Rated
if you haven't
R.
seen it yet, go see that shit.
Yeah.
Right? We're going to tell you that right now. Go see it.
By the way,
we all fuck with it to some extent, so go see it.
We'll get into it in a minute. Probably a lot of heavy spoilers in like the first reviews of this, just to be completely honest.
So I'm telling you now, if you haven't seen it yet, go see it.
Yeah, turn this off and listen to us later. It's a very fast movie. What?
I was saying the same movie.
Okay.
So just turn it off now.
All right. It's a very quick movie, 1 hour and 42 minutes long. So yeah, there's not a lot of filler to talk about here. It has a 7.7 on IMDb. It is rated the number 10 overall popularity movie right now. 79 Metascore, which is hard to do. Barbarian, a woman staying at an Airbnb discovers that the house she has rented is not what it seems. Pretty good synopsis, actually. Director and writer Zach Cregger, who, by the way, and I've been telling you all this in the group chat, is one of the creators of the web series The Whitest Kids You Know, which was formative comedy for me back in 7th grade.
Now you fucked up. Now you fucked up.
Fucked up. You have fucked up now.
You have fucked up now. It stars Georgina Campbell, Bill Skarsgård, Justin Long.
Stop right there. Don't reveal any more cast members.
Richard Brake is a guy named Frank in this as well. He plays a big part. You got to give this guy a shout out. We'll say about him, Matthew Patrick Davis as well. We won't tell you who his character is, but did you say this had a $10 million budget?
It had a $10 million box office. I don't know.
Okay, so it's made. I can't find the budget, but it's made 13 million worldwide so far. Let's see, Barbarian budget. This is gonna earn back. Yeah, okay. So it was a $10.5 million budget. Earned it all back in the first weekend, which is good for movies. But horror movies kind of do this on their own. They also marketed this kind of strange. Like it took, I didn't see as much marketing for this as you would have seen for, I don't know, The Nun 8. But
this was originally going to be a Hulu movie, and then people were like, "This shit bangs," and they were like, "Huh, yeah, it does, doesn't it?" So nothing else was coming out, and they were like, "Fuck it, let's put it in theaters now." So nothing else is here.
Yeah, and look, it's fighting for its life against college football and NFL football, but still enough people went and saw it to make it worth putting out in theaters.
Yeah, number one at the box office this week because nothing else was out worth seeing.
93% on Rotten Tomatoes, 74% audience score, which is actually kind of interesting. Smart, darkly humorous, and above all else, scary. Barbarian offers a chilling and consistently unpredictable thrill ride for horror fans. Let's get let's go with Derek first, and then we'll go Tej. So there's some connection issues, so we're not talking over each other. But go ahead, Derek.
Sure. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and not even beat around the bush right now. This is an A+ for me.
Nice.
I love this movie so much. Like you said, it's like an hour, 45 minutes. It was a breeze to watch. There were not that many people in my theater when I went and saw it. There was truly me and then 3 other couples. And it was nice to feel like a seventh wheel. Because it was literally I was sitting in my seat alone, literally covering my ears, squinting through my eyes. I'm just this movie is scary. Which I'm just kind of a big baby anyways when it comes to horror movies. But it was so much fun. I didn't see any of what was happening in this movie coming. Nothing that happened in this movie I ever saw coming. I'm really impressed with just what they did with the story and the beats that they took and the places they went. It was funny. When Justin Long comes in and his characters are just introduced, I was like, this feels like a weird place for this story to go. But then it was oh no, this is actually it feels natural and it feels it felt, I don't know. I don't really have a ton to say about it just because it's all positive and I want to wait until we get into the actual talk of the movie.
Major spoilers.
Just know that it's an A+ for me personally.
Tej, you with us?
Yes, I'm here. You hear me?
Yes, sir. All right, go ahead, give your review so we're not talking over each other with you breaking laws.
All right. Well, I down in the movie theater. I was having a great time. I really liked the kind of switch. I saw just the trailer about the main character going, that guy that you were is he a bad guy? Is he not a bad guy? And so I thought that was the extent of the film. Break into this Justin Long part of the movie where all of a sudden he's on the 10, he's on the 101 living his best life and singing. All of a sudden his life kind of comes crashing down. Cool transition to take the movie. But I enjoyed the whole movie. I realized I had a lot of questions that I just assumed were going to be answered, and so I didn't really assume there were certain things that were going to be answered. I spent a lot of the time. I spent probably half the time thinking that the movie had these gender dynamics, which obviously it was to a certain extent, and the other half, I really thought this was about housing and kind of like the way neighborhoods are gentrified, and I thought that they did a really good job of establishing that it's not just there are certain kinds of subgenres of scary movies, like, is this person bad monster? Also monsters down in the basement. Like those are two separate genres. And then the house is bad. Whatever is in this house, like you should be scared because the house in itself is when she's sleeping over the night with Bill Skarsgård and she asks him, "Did you open my door?" That like Bill Skarsgård is saying he didn't open the door, and if he in fact didn't open the door, then the house, regardless of whatever's going on inside the house. Well, when there's a point where she finally leaves, where she is in the neighborhood, and the way that it's shot and the way that it's scored is an extension of the house is bad. This is the neighborhood is bad. This whole neighborhood is for new boss is like, yo, you're staying where? Get the fuck out of that neighborhood right now. So I'm like, okay, some crazy shit going down in this neighborhood. And so I'm thinking this is a story about just going through the story, and then the movie just kind of ends. And I think that they resolved the dynamics part of it, but then I was left with a whole bunch of like, wait, were we not talking about just what it has to do with it? Like, I understand that one of the characters when he did flashbacks says like, oh, but I thought there were so many strings that they pulled at that they just didn't land. So when it ended, I was at that Animal Draft House, which I'm sure you all have been to, and so they drop off your check, and she dropped off my check, and I was like, there's no way this movie's ending in the next. There's too much to explore, and I'm having a good time. So that much they just must have jumped into it, and I was just like, oh shit, I had a lot more questions than I was left with answers. But as I enjoyed it, I would say I would give it a B+. It's a very fun movie. It's really well. It's acted really well. I just feel like there were a couple things within the shit and land it with, but I still had a pretty amazing time, and especially given I was pretty blown away about what they were able to do with it. I'll give it.
All right, so B+ from Tej. I'm gonna have to. Hopefully, we can cut that together. Were you hearing every other word?
Yeah, that was kind of choppy, but I think I got most of it. Yeah.
All right, so Tej gives it a B+. Had some unanswered questions. Dex, go ahead.
I'm right there with Derek now, and I'm giving this an A+. When I saw the movie, I got invited to like a little like press screening for it, like the day before it came out. Yeah, I mean, I saw it a day early. You know what I'm saying? It came out on Thursday. I saw it on Wednesday.
Still, when you lead with press screening, I'm just like, well, I was in here with a bunch of other couples. You're like, I'm here with the coastal elites, the Gulf Coast.
I'm here with the press, the movie press of Houston. The most elite people on the planet,
the lamestream media.
But yeah, I got invited, and I was like, I don't know. I don't usually fuck with horror movies. That's not my bag. But I was like, fuck it. It's a press screening. I'm gonna go and pretend to be an elite, whatever. So I go, and this movie starts, and like everybody else, like you watch the trailer, you're expecting it to be like, okay, she goes to this house, there's a dude already there. The dude's gonna like be a demon and like fuck with her and like murder her or something. Whatever. Like, that's fine. But no, this movie like just completely flips on its head, like 30 minutes into it, and you're like, oh shit, like what the fuck is going on here? And then like everyone keeps saying, everyone who's seen the movie will tell you, like, you have no idea what the fuck is coming next, and you don't. And I love that feeling. I usually, like I said, I don't fuck with horror movies. I only started watching horror movies because y'all made me on this pod. Y'all bullied me.
We literally bullied you into watching good movies.
Y'all bullied me into watching Midsommar and Candyman and The Invisible Man, and I watched this one, and I was like, you know what? you know what? This movie fucking bangs. I went and saw it twice. It's like, it was that damn good to me. Like, even though it was scary as hell, even the second time when I watched it, I was sitting there like watching through my fingers at some points because this movie is tense as hell. Like, the music is perfect to like make you scared. It like, I love a movie that knows that the audience knows like movie tropes. So like they'll just have characters like get into a car and like the camera angle will be like a little off and you're like, oh, like some shit's about to happen. And they're just literally fucking with you. Like nothing is about to happen. Like they're just sitting in a car. But because Zach Cregger knows that horror movie tropes, it's still like a tense moment. And I love that shit. I love the way this movie is shot. I love the way it sounds. And we'll get into spoilers so I can talk about, how much I love Justin Long's character and what that means and all that. But yeah, man, I fucking love this movie. I started out with giving it like a B+, and then I just couldn't stop thinking about it. And I saw it again and I was like, you know what? A+. Like this movie, I love this movie. It's my third favorite movie of the year so far.
Favorite movie of the year?
Behind Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Wow.
And Beast.
And Top Gun Maverick. I got this one. Oh yeah, Beast. It's tied for third.
Yeah. Dragon Ball Z superhero.
A movie I will never watch. No disrespect.
None taken.
I'm a little lower on this than y'all are. Not because I like hated it or anything. I really enjoyed my time watching it. Watching a horror movie by yourself is tough. Like, and I had to do that, especially when you're married and you have a built-in person to go to these horror movies with. Like, it's a tough look to just be, hi, hello. So I know the feeling, Derek. And it's also, you don't have anybody to like bounce the fright off of, where you're just like, are you scared? I'm scared. I'm so fucking scared right now.
I whispered multiple times, not like too loud or whatever, but I was just like, what the fuck? And like no one responded. And I was like, oh, so I guess I'm just the asshole then.
I'm here. Yeah. So yeah, I am here by myself. I did go, I think I audibly let out a, oh no, in the theater a couple times. That one got a chuckle, but
there were multiple don't do it like right. in the screening, like no girl, no.
Right.
Girl.
I was a little lower on it, not for any particular reason other than I've kind of seen some of the stuff like done before and I almost, not that I say that I didn't know where it was going to end up. I kind of figured that it was going to be some sort of demon or something living in the house. I kind of felt that Bill Skarsgård's character was always going to be a bait and switch, even with the marketing. I didn't realize the messaging that the movie was going to end up talking about. I thought it was, like Tej was saying, probably going to be about gentrification or something of that sort. But no, it kind of harkens back to films like that are more pulpy, like The Hills Have Eyes and mm-hmm. things of that sort, not to completely ruin the movie, but like it sort of borrows from some of those movies, but puts its own twist on it and has, like horror movies do now, most of them, unless it's named The Conjuring or whatever, has a message to it. And I think that message is very poignant and very good. And I think it's pretty well done, especially after Dex explained it to me like I'm a big dumb idiot. But it kind of borrowed from things that I had seen. Very well made. The score of the movie is incredible. It's really, really good. One of the best scores of any movie or any horror movie that I've seen for a long time. Those synths that are in the movie, it's it's really good. I thought, was it Georgina Campbell? Yeah, I thought Georgina Campbell was very good. Bill Skarsgård of the Skarsgård clan, one of like 18 brothers and dad to act in movies. He's always good. He's been good since it. And of course, Justin Long, just as he does, just popping up in random horror movies.
Dude, Justin Long will be in anything. I was looking at his filmography and I was like, what the fuck is all this?
He will never turn down a check.
Somebody that like is always consistently good in everything that he's in, but it is somebody that was on a different career path, like trajectory, like should have been like a Joseph Gordon-Levitt. You know what I mean? where that sort of career trajectory, like semi-handsome, funny man, the Zach Cregger got him because he's like, I want somebody like today's Tom Hanks. Whereas like if you look at who Tom Hanks was in the 80s and the 90s, he's just this everyman guy. And we don't have that as actors anymore. You're either like super hot or like just mega talented, and they can't deny.
Timothy Chalamet is right there.
You think he's right there? Yeah,
the everyman.
Yeah. But so yeah, having him in the movie was really good because like again, he's consistently good in everything he does. He's also very funny. He's all
hilarious,
just,
dude.
Mm-hmm.
This movie
I did not expect for this movie.
Yeah, this movie is extremely funny too. But it didn't linger with me as much as I thought that it was going to after I kind of left the movie. Like it washed over me, and when it was very scary, and it definitely took a turn that I wasn't expecting it to take when it finished. And like Teach says, it did just kind of end. Like not to spoil the movie, like it did just kind of, it was done. And maybe that's fine for a lot of horror movies. Sometimes horror movies don't have that finality to it. They leave it open-ended for sequels and things like that. But
yeah, there's not going to be a Barbarian 7.
No, not at all.
They are like, we're done here.
We don't know how many women he had in that basement.
Yeah, well, we'll talk about it. But I think yeah,
allegedly.
Allegedly, I think not even allegedly. There's videotapes. Spoiler. I think the finality of it was interesting. I think it was very well made. I think the score was good. The performances, he got good performances out of all of his actors. Really awesome directorial and writing debut, I believe, for feature debut for Zach Cregger. But I'd like to see what else he can do with this. This also goes into a long line of now comedians making horror movies. Shout out Jordan Peele. But this just kind of tells me that comedians are just fucked up.
Yeah, honestly.
Yeah. So
but I feel like Zach Cregger, like this movie it's fucked up, but like in a way that tells you he's not fucked up because like the message, like you said, is so poignant.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But yeah, I gave it a B. I'm gonna stick with that. One of the better horror movies of the last, I don't know, probably like 5-6 years. Definitely one of the more original ones too, as far as how it's made and the bait and switch of it all. But it does borrow from a few other things, and all films borrow from each other. So I'm not taking that many points off of it.
Originality is dead.
Oh yeah, well that's fine. Yeah, but yeah, I'm just that's where I am with it right now. If I revisit it, and I feel like my score may go up, but yeah, I kind of just left the theater, and when it was done, I was done. So that's where I'm sitting with it. Let's get into some spoilers. So if you haven't seen Barbarian, go see it. It'll be in theaters for a while now. It's not competing with anything until like Don't Worry, Darling comes out.
And even then,
yikes.
Hey, bro, this is the Woman King Erasure right now. How dare you?
Oh, right. I have a ticket to go see that movie this weekend.
So Tej keeps coming in and out, so hopefully we'll get him back in here in a little bit. But let's talk about spoilers. So cut off now, go see Barbarian, and come back to us. So the whole twist of the movie is that there is a mongoloid inbred monster in the bottom of the house in these caves.
Bill Skarsgård is not that ugly.
Fam, I just did not wake up expecting to hear the word mongoloid today.
Well,
like it's been so long since I've heard someone say the word mongoloid. That was not
this Paleolithic
on my bingo card. Jesus Christ,
first man
mongoloid
type creature.
First man. This Lucy,
yeah, it's a 7-foot naked woman inbred thing that roams the bottom of the house in underground caves that the previous owner, who's still alive, dug and
tortured
raped and tortured women in until he bred like kids and kids of kids and clones of clones. And
I want to just get this out in the open right now. I could fix her. I could fix her. Just give me a chance.
Oh, so
Derek watched this movie and said, "Mommy."
I said, "Oh, well, I'm no longer not in a couple now."
So the thing actually played by a man who I gave a shout out to earlier is named the Mother.
Yeah.
Matthew Patrick Davis is the name of the actor named the Mother. And is he the tallest person of all time? Or
Apparently.
Good Lord. He's 6'8". Yeah, that makes sense. So they have the Mountain playing the Mother.
We'll go piece by piece through this movie, but one thing I just have to say right now is that I have never been so horrified and so excited as watching the Mother break through a wall, rip off a man's arm, and then beat him to death with it. Like, that was incredible content.
That was it was incredible content, but one of the things that I saw coming from a mile away, which is like him playing a joke in the movie is a trope. She's not coming into here like immediately.
I've been here 15 years. She ain't coming in.
And all of a sudden, it's just boom.
This man is being beat to death with his own arm. I was like, I'm usually not into like violence and shit, but I was like, that's incredible. That's amazing.
That scene alone got a 7-minute standing ovation at the TIFF.
Yeah, it was that scene and Brendan Fraser for
in the Whale.
In the Whale, which is actually the same movie, by the way. But so like Tej was saying, if we could piece that together, it was basically, is the house haunted? Is it a haunted neighborhood? Is the person haunted? Like, what was these things? And you kind of get that. And it builds up that tension for a long time. There's a lot of tension building in this movie before there is some sort of resolution to where you figure out like what is actually the thing haunting them. And I think that's pretty smart. It was like 35 minutes into the movie before Bill Skarsgård goes down into the thing or into the tunnels.
Yeah, this movie, like, it knew that people were going to come into it thinking, oh, it's about a creepy guy who's at an Airbnb. Like, he's going to be a creep and like kill her and shit. So you're watching like the first 35 minutes of this movie, like, when you first meet Bill Skarsgård, you're like, oh, he's kind of creepy and awkward and weird.
He looks like Bill Skarsgård. He looks like it.
He's definitely a murderer. And then like he starts talking to him and you're like, is he weird? Like, when does he turn weird? He's not that weird. And then he just dies. Like, his brains beat in.
It just truly head bashed against a wall.
That was unreal. Unreal.
I jumped and almost screamed audibly.
I just was like, I just couldn't help but just like laugh the whole time because it was just so violent and unexpected.
Kept going.
I was like, okay, Mom, stop.
You got him. He's done.
Stop it. He's already dead.
The one thing though I will say about this movie that I hate with horror movies, and you got to do it, it's like the final girl sort of thing.
Oh.
Leave. Just leave.
Just go.
Just leave.
Georgina Campbell makes a lot of awful decisions in this movie.
Awful. Terrible decisions. And when she's like, when she can't find Keith and she's just going down the hallway going, Keith! It's like
right now, Keith.
It's like just go. Just
leave. Get in your car. Go.
But that's the thing. She did. Like, when she first saw the hallway, she was like, nope.
It's time to go.
And I was like, smart. This movie is now going to be 20 minutes. It is a short film.
Yeah. I don't know. I think that kind of took some points off for me because she continued to just be like, okay, I'll go down here now and like explore this weird torture dungeon.
Her being like, we have to save him. There's someone in there. I'm like, no, you don't. You really don't.
You don't. You don't know that person.
You just met this man.
You've been down there for weeks. Like, now you're out of there.
He just showed up. Like he's of no importance.
She had to save him because she is a badass and she's awesome and she's good of heart. That's how she survived. So she had to.
Yeah, she had to save him because, like,
I mean, sure.
I mean, she's a good person and we love her and we're rooting for her. And Georgina Campbell's a good enough actress that I was never like, get Tess the fuck out of here. I was always like, you know, I love Tess. I fuck with her. But me, I'm out.
Me personally, I'm built different.
I'm built different. I'm going home and I will not think twice about it.
No, I see a door in a basement that leads into a hallway. I'm like, I'm burning the house down.
Yeah. This was not pictured on the Airbnb. I'm not supposed to be here.
This is not listed in the amenities.
So the first half of the movie, the first act of the movie cuts off with Keith, rest in peace and peace, R.I.P.N.P. He getting his brains bashed in.
Bars.
Nice. Okay, we're there. I just had a stroke. Sorry.
We did it.
It ends with him getting killed by the bear Jew in. It ends with him getting killed by the bear Jew in Inglorious.
Teddy ball game just went yard on that one.
That was on Lansdowne Street. So it ends with him getting killed that way, and it just cuts to like
you hear the mother just fucking shouting into like the night, and you have no idea like what the fuck that is. And then we cut to Justin Long on a beach, like driving down the highway in a drop top,
living the time of his having the time of his life. I'm like, good for Justin Long, and then you find out that he's a rapist, and you're like, oh man.
I was so nervous when that shit happened. I was like, are we about to like get a movie that's all about like cancel culture and like Zach Cregger being like, all these women are liars? But no, thank God, that's not what this movie is about. Quite the opposite, actually.
Deej, you wanted to say something about that part of the script where he's finding out that he's being well, not canceled, but maybe even arrested. Like you wanted, like when he's fine. That's such a great scene from Justin Long.
Yeah,
I thought he did. I had the same fear as y'all. I said, "Oh my God, this is going to be a cancel culture horror culture," and I was going to walk out of the theater. But then I quickly realized that they painted him as such a go there, which I was very happy with.
Yeah, it paints it as like, oh well, she's just lying. And like, who are you supposed to believe? Like, yeah, it's painted it like a sort of a bash against Me Too. And then you get that scene with him in the bar talking to his friend. You're like, and also
you're a rapist.
Yeah, any interaction that he has with also any other people, he's an asshole too. So after that initial contact, Justin Long plays it so well, just playing this sleazebag asshole actor. Where I wouldn't do what they're accusing me of because I'm not a bad person.
She like eventually stopped saying no.
Yeah,
like
she wanted it, dude. Trust me.
Yeah,
she was so into it.
Like when he answered the phone and called his friend the F slur, I was like, I know exactly who this man is. Like,
went to high school with like 10 of these dudes. All right, sweet.
Unfortunately, I did just want to really quickly. I'm so sorry. Going back to the beginning of this movie, like. The expectation of like when you find out that they've both been booked in this Airbnb like at the same time on accident, I was like, the whole time I was like, what are they about to do? Like, is this some sort of like cult that's like brought them here? Like blah blah blah. Yeah. And then it was like, oh no, it's just really shitty like communication between rental services. The ultimate horror. Like. I was just like, I thought that was really funny. I like had that thought, and I was like, I have to say this before I die.
Yeah, I definitely thought like, oh, like the woman that she's calling who's like basically fuck off, like, is, like going to be in on it or whatever. But no, they just kind of like ignored that part of it. It was just really bad luck.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that, Derek, because that is funny where it's just like, oh yeah, so it was bait and switch by the marketing. That's incredible writing.
Right. I was like, this, how do they end? I was like, how do they end up at like what happened between like Airbnb and Home Away? I'm like, what happened here? I was like, how did this get messed up? There is something going on in the roots. And then I was like, oh no, it's
unfortunate.
Human.
This could happen to anybody.
This could happen to me.
Gotta tell you, if I am ever on a solo trip, I will be in a hotel. I will absolutely
Hotel,
not
motel,
be in an
Holiday
Airbnb.
Inn. Like I will not.
Airbnb has to watch this and be like, "Hey, yo, fuck!" Like,
they're like, "Ugh." When
You
did they find out?
motherfuckers.
this is a way to do this kind of movie, though, too. By the way, because they've tried to do movies about, all these kind of apps are bad and they can lead to you being murdered or whatever. And it's like, this wasn't the app's fault. Somebody wasn't using this somebody wasn't using this sort of.
All right. Well, bye.
It's just us now.
Well, we'll just never know what he was talking about. He got his brains
never
beat
know.
in by the mother.
The mother.
Wow, I think Big Airbnb got Roy.
Big Airbnb shut me off. Where did y'all? Sorry,
Mr. Airbnb came and cut your Wi-Fi router.
Hey, you're gonna shut the fuck up. We're already dealing with this movie. Which I've always wondered that. How do they? I guess they can just use the name of this. Like if they don't show like a logo or whatever.
Yeah,
they can just say like Apple or something.
Oh,
I don't know.
said Airspace B&B. It's not your company.
Yeah.
It's Air and then B&B. It's not.
No, it's
Airbnb.
BANDB.
Wait, where did y'all cut me off at, or where did I cut off at? Sorry.
Where did Airbnb cut you off at?
Cut?
Honestly, I don't remember what you were saying.
I was just saying.
Yeah.
I was just saying that they've tried to make these movies where these apps are bad, and if people will use this maliciously to kill you or whatever. But this just being the twist on that it just was a fuck up is actually really how you should do this sort of thing, instead of Uber driver kill person serial killer.
Justin Long isn't the old man from Squid Game, like orchestrating this shit, like in this Airbnb that he owns. It's like, somebody just fucked up the rental listing.
Which is this the first time that like people have died in this Airbnb? Is this the first? Because the homeless man seems to think that, or seems to know that this thing has been in there killing people for forever. But they were able to just do a complete renovation on this home without disturbing this thing.
How did Justin Long not know about this? I'm like, it's his property, like it's his house.
He seems to be completely removed. I kind of he's just completely removed from everything. He gave money to someone to refurbish homes, basically.
Yeah, like it's run by like a organization or whatever that just does this for people and like gives them money at the end. So I get that part. What I don't understand is, again, maybe I'm built different. I see a random rope in a basement that's not mine. I'm not pulling it. Like I am not doing that. Like I'm just gonna let that rope sit there.
For what? Like
if a door opens. No, thank you.
Curiosity is not going to kill this cat. Not today.
No, sir. I'm not doing it. This movie would not happen with me in this Airbnb.
There's so many.
What would be in the Airbnb?
Yeah, this is not a good commercial for. It's like, also Airbnbs are just like now more expensive. So like, why not do? Big Hotel has to come out against this movie.
Absolutely, and be like, see, we told you.
I want Marriott to release a statement right now.
So yeah, the bait and switch. Eventually Justin Long shows up to the house after he's been accused of to take from a Whitest Kid You Know skit, graping someone, and it's so uncomfortable. All the conversations that he's having, like on the phone and stuff, it's well played, but it's tough to listen to, especially that scene in the bar. And then he's just fucking about the house, like trying to measure shit, and him going
all of that
down
was
into
hilarious.
tunnels. him going down into the tunnels and not being concerned at all is the most white man privilege I've ever seen in my entire
because
life.
he found out that he can like add it onto the square footage of his house and like add just up the price of his rental. I'm like, what a scumbag! I cannot wait to see how you die. Like,
I don't remember what the old adage is about, like, doing something for slightly too long makes it comedy or whatever. But like the first time he does it, you like are like, okay, that's kind of weird, like whatever. Then he does it a second time, and you're like, ha, that's kind of funny. Then he does it like a third and fourth time, and the whole fucking theater was dying laughing, like as he's like going into every room of this house with this tape measure.
right?
Like,
And he's like, what the fuck?
He looks
Like,
he looks at the cages and is like, what the fuck is that anyway?
he measures around the cages. He's like,
Yeah. So
also him like opening her laptop and like trying to type the password, getting it wrong, and then just throwing her laptop across the room. Everyone was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you?"
I want to know what he typed.
Who does that?
He only
that's
tried one thing. I want to know what's the one thing you tried when you try to open it when you got one.
What was he so
Password.
confident in that he was just like, this is gonna get it, and then he's like, well, I don't know any other passwords, so.
The word password is always the first thing you try every single time.
well, her name is this. I might as well try her name, right?
Right. I did like and this is just kind of like the English teacher / like nerd in me, I guess. He found Jane Eyre in her bag, and this the concept of like this like crazy woman like living in like either the basement or like living in secret in someone's house like is like a plot point from Jane Eyre, and I was just like, that's fun.
I figured
like,
that would be
a
a
very
thing.
fun nod to like that like because it's like Jane Eyre is this like classic like gothic romance story where all of the sudden it's like, oh yeah, I have a wife and she's insane and lives in the tower of my castle. It's just like, what?
I figured that was like a reference or like a play into the plot or whatever. I've just never read Jane Eyre, so
it's awful.
Like get it? It
it's
went over
awful.
me,
Like,
but I was
don't read it. I told you everything. I told you everything. You need to know. Like,
sick. But yeah, I knew that like had to be
not
like
a lot of
I was like, there's no way they just picked that.
Not a lot of
random.
readers, I believe. Listen, we're not readers, so I don't believe we have a lot of listeners who are like big readers. But that one,
I tried to be a reader at the beginning of the year.
You were in.
And
I was like,
buddy,
you started like
off.
like a Goodreads challenge. Yeah, I was just
Goodreads.
like, I remember that, and then I was like, what happened?
This summer I got a book that stunk, and I couldn't finish it, and I couldn't start another one because I'm like, I have to finish a book before I start another one. I can't like
you can just move on,
abandon a book without finishing it. So I just haven't read in a long time because that book sucks.
Yeah,
but anyway.
But I'm just dying at the thought that like the one big reader that listens to us is like, this motherfucker said don't read Jane Eyre.
And there's not a lot of hills I'm willing to die on, but that's one of them.
He's an English teacher, folks. We are certified.
So the grossest thing in this movie. Well, there's two gross things. One,
there's a lot of gross
things. Yeah, I was like, that's underplaying it a lot.
The one she tries to breastfeed or does breastfeed Justin Long, which I think everyone in the theater was like, huh?
I pulled out my phone. I said 4K 60 frames per second. It's like, what?
Oh.
This is going in the hidden folder.
I need this for research purposes. But what was even more gross to me was when she was trying to feed him that bottle through the cage, and there was just hair and shit on. I was like, I was gonna, yeah.
That's the noise I was making when I saw that bottle nipple. Like, like,
oh shit. So I think immediately. So that was disgusting, but I think immediately when I knew where it was going when they hard cut to the guy that was living in that home. As soon as he walked out of the house in like the 1960s or 50s or whatever, I was like, oh, this guy's a rapist.
80.
Slender Man looking motherfucker absolutely takes advantage.
That guy has
definitely
played that guy has played bad people in several movies. Richard Brake, I believe is his name.
He looks like.
Wasn't he also like the Night King at one point?
Was he?
Maybe.
I feel like he was like one of the early versions of the Night King.
He looks like skinny Peter Pettigrew.
Yeah. I can't find
like if Peter Pettigrew did Adkins, it would be this guy.
But yeah, he's played a lot of he was the Night King. He was our early version of the Night King. So like, yeah, he just has one of those faces where he's played a lot of like evil characters. But yeah, when he came walking out of that, it's good work if you can get it, I guess. But like, he came walking out of that home, and like I was like, I don't trust this guy immediately.
He's like stuffing a woman in his trunk. He's like, it's a living.
Yeah. But the real twist of it was him actually being alive still.
Yeah, I was not expecting that.
Yeah, I did not see that shit coming.
That was an interesting twist. But to have that interaction between the two of them was vastly needed.
Yeah, and that like I was telling Roy and TG the other day in the group chat, that was like the meat of the movie, and part of why I love it so much is like that interaction between what's his name, AJ and Frank. Like they are like the barbarians in this movie. Like you come into it expecting it to be like, you come into the movie having seen the trailer, maybe expecting it to be Bill Skarsgård, and then like if you watch the movie, like a less cultured person than us who talks about movies all the time would probably think that like the Barbarian is the mother character or whatever. But what like Zach Cregger, whatever, his point like with the movie is that Frank and Justin Long are the actual barbarians because they commit violence against women. Like, and that's like the most barbaric thing. Like first of all the movie is Frank's fault. And, then you find out Justin Long is actually a rapist. But I think one thing that Zach Cregger does that's really, really subtle, but like it's just perfect to like drive the point home of this movie. He never shows like any of that violence against women on screen. Like, he just shows like Justin Long's reaction to watching the videotape, right? Or like he just kind of confirms like via a phone call that Justin Long raped this person. Like a less skilled director would have like shown you Justin Long raping that woman, or would have shown you Frank like terrorizing these women.
I would say the easier thing to less skilled director would have shown at least one of like him kidnapping that woman that he broke into her house, but really it was the just opened a window or whatever, and we've all seen enough movies to be like, got it.
Yeah, he definitely raped and murdered that woman, and like you see all the videotapes, you see that he's like done this a lot.
You see her dress too.
You see her dress, yeah. So Zach Cregger, like he drives the point home without like having to show you a woman being raped on screen, right? And it like causes the audience to, like fill in the gaps on their own, right? Because Justin Long is like, "What's wrong with you? Like you're an awful person." And like you hear Justin Long say that, already knowing that he himself is a rapist. So like
well, it's like even at the end of the movie when they're sitting on top of the water tower, or I'm sorry, not sitting on top of the water tower, when they're talking with the homeless guy, he says like, he's like, am I a bad person or am I just like a good person that did a bad thing? And it's like, sir, you've proved time and time again that you're a bad person.
Terrible fucking person.
Yeah,
and then he proves it again immediately.
It gets less and less ambiguous as the movie goes on, which is maybe a flaw, but it didn't bother me that much to have a little bit of clarity on that oh yeah, he is a piece of shit.
No, I think it definitely like serves the purpose of like what Dex was saying about like the story and like the message that you're trying to get across of like, both of these men are equally as evil and barbaric, but like one of them is more overt about it and the other one is more like covert. And he's like
two sides of the same coin.
Yeah, he's less willing to take blame on himself. And he's like, no, I'm a good person. Like I just did it. Like I did a bad thing. I messed up. Whereas Frank is like, I'm a monster. And like, I know I'm a monster. Like, look at me. Like, you're not going to tell me I'm not a monster. And I think that's like, I just think that's really interesting to like show that like evil, you know, as much like as cliche as it sounds, like evil comes in all shapes and sizes. It's like it's not just like one specific brand of evil.
Yeah, and I also think it's like part of it is like Justin Long is like the beginning of it, right? It's like, oh, well, you know, she said no at first, but then she was into it, and like it just happened that one time. Like, you know, I'm not a bad guy. I just did a bad thing one time. Like I'm not like it doesn't happen often or whatever. I don't do this. Like, and then Frank, it's like, you know, after, you know, you do it the first time and you do it the second time and then you just keep on doing it. You keep going and going. And you, by the end of it, like you turn into this monster, like Frank, right? Like it just takes that one, like that first, once you take that like first little step, it's like, this is the path that you, like, this is where that path leads. Like it's to you being this monster locked in this basement. With this
I'm like, that's AJ
inbred beast.
Like,
yeah, I was going to say,
Mongoloid.
To have all of that, like, yeah, I know the point of the movie is like the real monster is rapists. Yeah, I was gonna say is these men, but like to have I guess the manifestation of that be this huge beast thing is an interesting choice. I guess you need a monster to be actually scared of in a horror movie.
Well, it's like you need like a stand-in, like you need like it's almost like a result. It's like this is like the fruit of your labor is like this like
fruit of your labor. Oh Lord,
is this like beast that you've created, and it's like, you know, you need it's a stand-in for like that like, you know, whatever.
Yeah, what happens? Yeah. What happens if this continuously goes on down?
Which it's like, so in talking about this, it reminds me of, I don't know if y'all saw this movie, the new Alex Garland movie that came out over the summer, Men.
I didn't.
Teach did.
Okay. I personally didn't enjoy it, and I'm you know, an A24 shill. I'm like, whatever they put out, I will say.
You got the hat?
No, A24 hates fat people, so it's like I don't partake in their merch.
You were watching Lamb, like, this is my shit. This is cinema.
I actually skipped out on Lamb, even though I really did want to go see it. And then one of my friends was like, it was just weird. And I was like, oh, damn it. Okay, I thought it was going to be a
smart decision.
Okay.
I hated it.
Teach saw both Lamb and Men. Talk about A24 shill.
Yeah.
That's true.
You saw Lamb, oh brother. Anyways, I'm sorry. But Men has like the same message of like the real monster is these men. Like, but I think it does it in a more like, it doesn't really like, I said something like when the movie first came out, like the discourse around it was like so heavy. I was like, this movie feels like it has a lot to say, but didn't know how to say it. And so it just chose not to say anything at all. It's like, it wanted to say like, oh, like, you know, toxic masculinity and like the cycle of like of violence and like all this stuff, but it never really like latched on to anything, where it's like, I feel like this movie Barbarian like has kind of the same message of like the cycle of violence and like how your bad decisions can like lead you into becoming this monster. It like has a very clear message, and I just think that that's like, you know, I think Alex Garland is a skilled filmmaker. I mean, I love Ex Machina and Annihilation, but like, you know, to see this story told well was, you know, very refreshing after seeing Men kind of fumble the bag a little bit.
Tej, do you have anything to add on to that?
I really like that point. I did not like Men for similar reasons. I love Alex. It was almost too on the nose in terms of like it's like real hammers at home. Whereas this, there's more of a deft hand here when we're dealing with the issues of, and I appreciated that more than I appreciated what Alex Garland did.
So let's talk about the ending, and then we'll get into. I added our best horror movies of the 21st century, which for Dex it'll be like 3, so it's fine.
Yeah, I got 4 to pick from.
No, we're not going to do a draft or anything. We'll just talk about them. But so the ending, obviously he shoots her, which I thought he killed her. I thought because the way he shot it and she was looking at the camera without blinking or anything like that, I thought he killed her. And I was like, oh, that would have been interesting. If he,
he was like, you have to get to the end of this movie with just Justin Long.
Just Justin Long, yeah, exactly. So I thought he killed her in the tunnels, but of course they.
Wait, is this the first time Royden fell for a fake out death and I didn't? Holy shit, this is history right now. This is history.
I thought he killed her. I was
Royden, she's not dead. No way she's dead. No way.
Well, they kept going, and I was wait, nah. But and then she took a breath, so I was like, it was like confirmation bias, like in 2 seconds. But so she tries to kill the thing by hitting it with her car, which whomst among us, like
who hasn't?
Who hasn't tried to like kill a giant monster with your Jeep? Like,
that's a decision I would have made, honestly.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, you got a car, hit it with your car.
Your Grand Cherokee.
Why her car didn't start after that? Like, it was already running. I don't know, but like whatever.
I will gonna say the scariest shot to me of this movie was when she breaks out of the glass and the homeless guy pulls her out, and it cuts to the monster like reaching out and then back in. And
reaching out of the basement,
out of the basement.
Oh, yeah.
That shot was horrifying. I was like, oh, I hate this. But anyway, she hits it with her car, goes back down into the tunnels because, why not? She has to go save this actor douchebag who she just met.
I have to save him. There's someone in there.
And then for her kindness, which I guess is a metaphor, she gets shot. But okay, so they get out. They go find the homeless man. The homeless man gets beaten to death. We've covered that
with his own arm. So badass.
Yeah, you think you're having a bad day? Anyway, they somehow run out of room. They run up to the top of a water tower. They run out of room. Justin Long makes the executive decision that she'll definitely like follow you off the top of the, like, what if he was wrong and he just threw a woman off the top of the thing?
Hey, I mean,
he didn't care as long as he survived.
Yeah.
No, I'm just saying, like, he throws the woman off the top of the thing, and the monster is like, "No, I'm gonna get you too."
Yeah, fuck her. I'm gonna just kill you right now.
Yeah. That'd have been.
There were several times in this movie that Justin Long almost reached final girl status, and I was like, "Is Justin Long about to be the final girl of this movie?" Like,
exactly.
I was like, I hate that a little bit, but then he, got his head ripped in half, and
yeah. So the mother, which was it's kind of an unintentionally funny shot, her diving off the water tower.
Hilarious.
Yes.
Like Mufasa or something, like falling. It was like it was a wild shot. She catches
swinging.
Yeah, exactly.
Just a swing. Yeah.
Anyway, she catches her like a football or something and just cradles her into the end zone, but she doesn't die. But Justin Long runs down there, is like, "Oh shit, sorry, I didn't mean that." And
like, yeah, she was gonna kill us both. I had to do something. Like, I'm not a bad person. I did the right thing.
That dialogue at the very end, though, was shaky to me. I will say that. I was kind of like, okay. And then I saw that he was going to die immediately. I was like, that's coming. But
that's fine.
The very end of it, and I think this, Tej, me and you may have had a problem. I'm glad there was a little finality in it. Like, you don't always get that. But there's no like battle or anything. She just shoots the mother in the head, and it ends. And it shows her like kind of, going back. I don't know what the messaging of that is, where she had to kill the mother. Like, I don't know if there is any messaging in that, or if it was just trying to end a horror movie. I don't get it.
I don't think there's any like deeper message with it.
Yeah,
it's just kind of like, this is a like big inbred monster. Like,
fair.
I have to kill it. Like,
fair,
I've seen it kill 4 people today.
Well, if you think about like the deeper like subtextual meaning behind the inbred woman and the normal woman, you can see that her shooting the inbred woman is a clear distinction between suburbia and rural America.
It's about Tess finally being able to break the glass ceiling.
Yeah,
When the
the
gunshot
glass.
rings out, it sounds like a glass ceiling shattering. So that's kind of what Zach Krieger was
And
going for.
Tess is a girl boss. Thank you.
Oh, nice, awesome. When's your TED Talk?
Now it's right now.
This is your TED Talk? Okay, yeah.
I saw the little stream on your sites, and I was like, "Yeah, let me go and do that."
But yeah, I get what you're saying. I can see how you would want like a little more
right
there. But for me, it's just like you're not
okay. We're done. We're done with this
Let
ride.
it walk away. Like I'm not gonna go back into the basement. I got a gun. Like
she's like, I have to go make a documentary. Like
I'm gonna kill this thing.
Oh, another thing that I wanted to add, the whole bit with the cops not believing her was a little on the nose, but I appreciate it.
Yeah, I was like so mad, but also I'm like, I mean, I do kind of get it. Like,
yeah,
this probably just looks like a crackhead to like if you're a normal person.
It's also
It's
about like men not believing women at all.
Yeah, that
Right.
too. But it like
Yeah.
Well, it was
she's
like,
like
as
a
soon
very
as
like dirty woman walking like into the gas station, being like,
Yeah.
"Hey, like I need to call the cop." Like, I can understand. Like, you'd be like, "Yeah, it's just a random homeless crackhead who lives in like
as
this
soon as she said
nowhere
like
town."
she's like, I'm not a crackhead. It was like, okay, well, you just kind of sealed the deal there. Sounds like
Something a crackhead would
say.
Oh man. Anything else that we want to talk about this movie? Dex, you
I
give it an
can't
A+?
believe we're just kind of skipping over my boy Justin Long just getting Oberyn martelled.
Oh, I was gonna say,
It reminded me of this is for my church going folks out there.
Rest in peace, Bozo. I don't know.
It reminded me of like when like the strong men would come to your church and they'd rip a phone book in half. I was like, well, I guess I got to get saved again. This is a spiritual experience for me.
The funniest thing that they ever did in the Righteous Gemstones is have them do that bit throughout the entire season and like try to form like a pyramid or whatever, and they all get injured and stuff, and they're gonna sue the church. It's a hilarious bit. But yeah,
love the Righteous Gemstones.
The strong man ripping a phone book in half through the power of Christ. I.e.,
well, it's like she also did that, and I just said, God, I wish that were me. You know what I mean?
Destroy me, mommy.
Yeah. Whomst amongst us?
Me amongst us.
I wish I had my head crushed like a grape.
If she would have done it with her thighs, that would have done it for me.
I know it smelled crazy in there.
Oh God, dude.
It smelled like sploosh. Call back
to our Holes episode
to 2020. Dear God.
Speaking of holes, this is the end result of that. They just kept digging, and eventually they wound up under a Detroit suburb.
The mother is actually Sigourney Weaver from that movie.
The mother is kissing Kate Barlow.
The grandpa and the guy, the evil guy in the basement, all kind of look the same. Like all I needed him to say was, "That's too damn bad."
There's something there.
Yeah. This is a very niche reference to like the 10 people who have been listening to us since 2020, but like I'm enjoying this bit. So yeah. What a wild movie. What a wild movie. Cinema.
Love that fucking movie.
Thank God for Barbarian.
Yeah, I mean, look, it is like an original screenplay and everything, just to get those movies made now and actually put in theaters to enjoy with other people. We keep saying it. Thank God. Like, we need more of these sort of middle of the road movies, and I wish it would something like that wasn't always horror, because that's where you kind of get the creativeness from filmmakers now, is the horror genre, because they're able to make their money back. Horror is one of those that they've sort of decided, or that the general populace has decided is going to make money or is easy to make money.
Yeah, you can make Barbarian for $10 million as a horror movie, but if you want to make it like a action comedy, it's going to be $100 million.
Right. But it's decidedly that they've, even though this is rated R, teenagers will sneak in and go see it, and more and more people will go take dates to go see horror movies. It's just a thing.
I will say there was a 10-year-old in my screening with her parents.
God.
And I said, I think there needed to be just a quick glance over of that idea a couple more times before we followed through with it.
There was a group of 14-year-olds that came into my head. I was like, oh, brother, this is going to be one of those ones that, like Paranormal Activity. I don't know if y'all remember.
You're getting a voucher at the end of this movie.
Yeah. Ooh, brother. Yeah, that one was tough. So let's talk about our favorite horror movies of the 21st century. I put this prompt out on Twitter, and a lot of people didn't understand what I meant. A lot
of people are dumb.
Shout out to our audience. We did get a lot of responses and stuff, but I put what is the best horror movie of the 21st century, but I had pictures of 4 renowned horror movies from that thing. What I wanted was an honest response. You said the Babadook.
Name any horror movie.
Name any horror movie. Name one.
Yeah, okay.
And people were like, well, of those 4, and it was like, I'm not talking about.
Okay, yeah. As soon as you were talking about people misunderstood, I was like, oh no, did I misunderstand?
No, you got it
is
right.
Is he talking about me?
No, you got it right.
Or the people tweeting it's none of these. Well, then what is it, bitch? That's the question.
That's I text the group. I said, I think people misunderstand the word "what" for which is all right, English. You need to do better at your
movies
job.
Doesn't mean you have 4 options, guys.
Right.
Read the question.
Just because you see pictures and our lizard brain goes, I have to pick.
Derek, all I'm saying is you just got to do better at reading comprehension. That's all I'm saying.
The English teacher, please.
The English teacher, please teach that to our youth.
What I teach to our youth is indoctrination, by the way.
The woke agenda.
I do teach the woke agenda, unfortunately. I'm being forced to. The libs have me at, I can't say gunpoint because but I guess sword point.
Knife. That's the one that they like to throw out. That's the one that people like to throw out. Is like, well, the knives in
there would be knives.
Great Britain.
But I'm like, I don't know. I feel like Nancy Pelosi uses a sword.
Probably.
Honestly, probably.
Yeah. Let's see.
Anyways.
Our favorite, I can just imagine her with just a broadsword in her house.
Her in the dashiki holding a sword.
Oh God.
She gets up after taking her knee and just draws a sword.
We will fight racism together.
Okay, Derek, you said the Babadook. Why the Babadook?
Because I was in college when I watched it, and it imprinted on me like a mother wolf. No, it's it was one of those movies that I watched because I was not into horror when I was in college at all. I'm a recent horror junkie. But I saw this trailer and I was like, this movie looks so good, and so I watched it, and it was the first time that I saw a horror movie have a second meaning, it was an allegory for something. And if you don't know, The Babadook is this Australian movie that came out in 2014, 2015, something like that, where a mom and her son find this picture book on their front doorstep one day, and they read it, and it's about a ghost that comes and haunts their house and ends up trying to possess them and kill them. But spoiler alert, it's all a metaphor for grief, because the mom loses her husband. She loses her husband while he's driving her on the way to the hospital to give birth to her son. And she now has to live with her son. And every time she looks at him, she's reminded of basically like you took my husband away from like, or like my husband would still be here if it wasn't for you. Um, and the Babadook is this thing that like comes and like haunts their house, and like she begins to become like more aggressive towards him, and like eventually like basically like wants to kill him because it's like, and it's all this whole thing about like how grief can turn you into this like different person, and like grief can make you into something that you're not. And I'm just going to spoil the whole ending of this movie. But
yeah,
it's,
go ahead.
I
It
mean,
came out
it
like
looks
8 years ago.
it looks terrifying. I'm never gonna watch it. Sorry,
Yeah,
it looks
same.
horrifying.
it's fantastic. It's there's no like jump scares except for like one thing. But at the ending of this movie, she, you know, gets the Babadook out, but instead of like it going out of her house, it just goes and hides in the basement. And you see later on in the movie, she's like gathering like worms and shit outside in a bowl, and she goes down to the basement and she's like feeding it to keep it at bay. And it's like, and it's this whole thing about like depression never goes away, like grief never really goes away. You can just kind of like learn to live with it. And it's like, I realized that when I was watching it, and I was just like, it was literally like a like hands on your head, just like holy shit, like. And so it was like the first movie that I saw that I thought told a really poignant story through the lens of horror, like through the lens of like a monster or ghost movie. And I thought it was very well done. I thought it was very well acted, very well shot. Snubbed at the Oscars. I will go on record saying that. Like, I know people talk about Hereditary and Toni Collette, but like the Babadook, snubbed. I'll say it till the day I die. I am the Babadook Hive, and I also thought it was very funny when the Babadook became a gay icon.
I was going to mention that.
Wait,
that's like the only thing that's the only thing I know about the Babadook is that it became like a gay Twitter meme.
It's really the only thing you need to know. So the gay community adopted the Babadook as like a mascot, and I think it stemmed from this one post on Tumblr where someone was just like, the Babadook is gay. And everyone's like, it's actually just a metaphor for grief. And someone's like, you're going to sit here and tell me that this monster made a pop-up book of itself just for the drama of it all? Honey, that's gay. And I was like, well, they make a point. And so
I remember that vividly because like one of my roommates in college was like I think he was bi. And you know, he was like kind of just discovering that about himself in college. And so he would like just recite like gay Twitter recaps to us every night. We're just chilling in the living room, and he's like, so on gay Twitter today, and we're like, good for you, Josh. Glad you're finding yourself. But yeah, the Babadook was like a huge thing for him for like 2 months because like it was like dominating gay Twitter for whatever reason.
This is the only thing that I know about the Babadook. 1 second, let's see here. Do y'all see this?
We have a multimedia presentation. No.
Oh no! Hold on. Here we go.
Let me share my screen.
Yeah, here we go. TBT to Halloween when I dressed as the Babadook by my friend's house and more grown-ups drinking wine by.
That's incredible.
So good. It's so good.
TBT to Halloween when I dressed as the Babadook, but my friend's house had more of a grown-ups drinking wine vibe. Oh shit. I love this.
So good.
Somebody recreated it as TBD to Halloween when I went to my friend's house for a grown-ups drinking wine party, but there's more of a Babadook vibe.
Babadook vibe.
Oh shit. Yeah, that's one of my favorite. Every time that gets shared, I'm like crack up. The woman's face is like all right. Dex, do you have a favorite horror movie of the 21st century?
I mean, yeah, it's not a whole lot to pick from. I've seen
besides Barbarian.
Yeah, I can recite every horror movie that I've ever seen for you. I've got Midsummer, I've got Candyman, The Invisible Man, and Barbarian.
Yo, what?
That's it?
Those are the only movies that I would classify as horror movies that I've seen because I do not fuck with that shit personally.
Which I remember you saying that a long time ago, and then when I saw you just singing Barbarian's praises, I was like, who drugged him to a horror movie? Like,
he's too much of a Christian.
Honestly, no. But I'm a bitch. I am not about it. Like I said, I watched this Barbarian twice, and the second time I was still jumping and watching through my fingers and on the edge of my seat, even knowing what was about to happen. So I don't really do this shit. But yeah, since I can't pick Barbarian, I'm gonna just pick Midsummer because shout out to Florence Pugh. And I watched that one and I was like genuinely enjoyed it, and I was like, first of all, it wasn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. I was like, I was hammered watching it, like because I was so nervous about watching a horror movie that I heard so many bad things about. But it was more like just like fucked up instead of being like really like terrifying to me. But I really like, Florence Pugh's performance, obviously, and like the whole like tension and drama of it all, and the cinematography is great and all that. I like I love a movie that's in the good for her cinematic universe. You know what I'm saying? Where like you get to the end and you're like, you know what? Good for her. She deserves.
She needs it. She needs it.
She earned that. So so I fuck with that one. I like all the horror movies that I've seen. Barbarian's the only one that I've seen twice, but yeah, so that's where I'm at. Sorry, guys.
Yeah, so Don't Worry, Darling is going to be right up there with Hereditary for Florence Pugh's canon of horror movies.
Midsummer.
No, yeah. Well, a
movie she's not even in.
No, I said Don't Worry, Darling is going to be right up there with her canon of horror movies.
You said right up there with Hereditary.
Oh, Hereditary. My bad. Midsummer.
I will say one of the movies I listed was the 45 minutes of Hereditary that I saw before I left.
Let's see. There's a lot of responses on Twitter, but I just wanted
to Nope a horror movie because I've seen that one.
Yeah,
but
for like that 10 minutes when they're in the house and it's like screaming.
Yeah, the 10-minute like rainstorm scene.
Oh, that was horrifying. But also the digestion scene.
Yeah, that was like the best part of the movie is when they're in the house and the like monsters just spitting blood onto them. It's incredible.
I watched that and I was like, this is one of the most haunting things I've ever seen in my entire life.
But yeah, that's why it was the best part.
Oh yeah, it was great. It was great.
My one that I picked because I kind of my go-to, my cinephile, and a lot of people know this movie now, but it used to be like, oh, you haven't seen, was It Follows.
Yeah, that one's definitely an if you know movie.
Yeah, it definitely, I still get to.
If you follow, you follow.
If you follow, you follow. It follows. It tracks. I think that movie is. I didn't quite understand what like. I had to have somebody explain it to me that's smarter than me because I'm a big dumb idiot. But I had to my uncle, shout out Tim. He was basically like, no, there's a thing.
We'll never know. We'll never know.
It got him. It do be following.
It do be following.
So shout out to Uncle Tim. Tim said there's a
sorry. I don't know what is going on with my internet. The Babadook is getting me. So there's a thing with horror movies dating back to Halloween and Nightmare on Elm Street that the slut shaming basically in horror films. And in the final
sex gets killed or whatever.
Yeah, any final girl thing, the final girl is a tale as old as time. But yeah, the slut shaming of it all is something that I wasn't even quite aware of. And it just takes that trope and it is the movie, which is if you have sex, this spirit, this malevolent spirit that takes form of whatever you might be afraid of follows you around and you don't know what it looks like. You aren't like, it can be a different person every single time. And it's not super jump scary or anything like that. It is just this uncomfortable, haunting, tense movie where literally you are running from something that you can't see. the entire time. And you're just like, okay, where the fuck is, and they say this, and then, where is it? What's going on? Da, 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 da. And it's really good filmmaking to not show what you're supposed to be scared of the entire movie. And some people may hate it. Some people may actually like the standard horror Halloween sort of. And I get that. But this is the first one that I saw where it was tension building to the max. And you're just like, you're just on pins and needles the entire movie. And once you're done, it's a very nice catharsis at the very end of the movie, which goes a long way. But what?
As someone who will never watch this movie, I have a question. So is the message of the movie that having sex is bad, or is it like using that to prove make another message?
I think it's just like that trope of like the final girl, or that anyone who has sex in like a horror movie is going to. In a teen horror movie is. It's like most of the time, it's like you have like your tropes of like characters in a horror movie. Like you have like the slut, you have the jock, you have like, and then your final girl will always almost end up being the virgin. She's this pure, like nice, sweet girl. But like in this movie, it's like the girl that ends up being like the final girl or whatever. Like she's the only one that can see this thing because she has sex with a guy that it's following.
Yeah.
And so he like passes it along to her, and he's like, "Okay, now you have to deal with this." Like,
right.
I don't think there's any like real message about like sex is bad, like chastity all the way. It's a Christian movie.
No. Yeah.
I was definitely thinking like this shit sounds like something they would play at an abstinence assembly.
University.
I don't know if y'all had this in high school, but like my sophomore year of high school, they had all of us come into like the Performing Arts Center for an assembly, and some woman talked to us about like the gift of abstinence and how not to have sex because it's bad and you'll get diseases and you'll start oozing
and you'll die.
So I'm like, is it follows just a really scary abstinence assembly? Like, if you have sex, you will get followed and you will die.
I mean, technically the movie unintentionally maybe works like that, but no, it's more about how we place this undue shame on people that have sex for no reason at all. Like when in reality, like everybody has sex and it's just a thing that happens.
Speak for yourself, Royden.
Oh, sorry.
I am a child of God who is unmarried. Thank you.
I've been untouched by a woman for 27 years.
So
single tear flows.
Hey, maybe the mother.
All my tears are single tears.
I really appreciated sort of not only the messaging of the movie, but just the way that it builds tension throughout, and the ending is actually really funny how they end up killing the monster. But yeah, it's really worth watching. I believe it was on Netflix for a while. I don't know what it's currently on. I definitely think you can find all these movies on Shudder too, a streaming service which I will never purchase.
Also, thank you. Will not be in my house.
No,
not in my house.
We lost Tej to the internet gods. Sorry. You may lose me here again too. I don't know what is going on right now. We got Ghost.
Me and Dex got it.
Yeah.
We're killing
so a lot of people went with Hereditary. Somebody said Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey, a movie that is going to suck. Let's see.
That movie's gonna be so fucking awful.
I cannot believe people are gonna go watch that movie.
I watched the trailer and I was like, this feels like a porn.
Yeah.
Like it's the same quality. I was like, I've seen that video before. Like,
I didn't even watch the trailer. I tweeted it from like 3 different accounts because like that's just what you do for Apollo. It's like, we got to tweet these trailers out. We got to get this engagement. But didn't watch it after any of the 4 times that I tweeted about this shit.
A lot of people said Get Out. Some people said Train to Busan, which is a horror movie, but like I find that to be more of like an action thriller.
Yeah.
Than anything.
That's like the zombie joint or whatever.
Korean zombie movie.
It's one of the better zombie movies of all time, which I guess if you want to count zombie movies as horror movies, sure, like I'll allow that. I find that to be more of like more of like an action movie, to be completely honest, which people will disagree with. But if you watch it, it's just action packed from start to finish. Kind of like with the 28 days and 28 weeks later sort of thing. Okay, so these are two of the scariest movies of all time, and the Insidious movie, the first Insidious movie, ick, dude. Yo,
Yucky.
I watched that, and when that thing crawls on the ceiling and like scurries around,
no. I saw Darth Maul pop up behind that woman, and I said, I think I'm good.
Yeah, I think the scaredest I've ever been, there's two times of the most scared I've ever been in a theater was The Conjuring, the first Conjuring, which is one of the better haunted house movies of the last, well, definitely decade, but of the last probably 20 years. And look, it's cheesy and bad now, but the first Paranormal Activity.
Oh, no, that shit was scary.
I watched that in the Fane Theater in Livingston, Texas, where your feet just stuck to the floor.
I was just saying, you couldn't even get up because your feet were stuck to the floor.
Yeah, I couldn't run away because my feet
were... They had a captive audience.
For some ungodly reason, we weren't sure if it was like soda or what was on the floor of the Fane Theater, and your feet would stick to the floor. Anyway, I watched that movie, and you could walk back to my house from the movie theater. It was like 2 blocks away. So I didn't have a car. I walked to the movie theater, saw the movie with some friends, walked back, and it was just this gray, gross day outside. It was quiet as fuck outside, and I just was like looking over my shoulder the entire time.
No.
Got home. Nobody was home. And not only that, there was always some like lamp or something on in my house. The house was pitch black. Pitch black. I opened up the door. No one's home. House is pitch black. I'm not lying to you. I just went outside and played with our dog until my parents got home.
What time was
you were like, not tonight, buddy.
Yeah,
I am not dying.
It was like 6 in the afternoon or something, 6 in the evening or something like that. They were just gone. I don't know where they were. They were just, no one was home. And I was like, yeah, I'm just gonna wait this one out. And I did. And they're like, why are you in the backyard? I was like, nothing. No reason.
No reason.
Just vibing with my
dog,
dog,
all the
bro.
time, Mom and Dad. You don't remember?
Yeah, so a lot of Get Outs, things like that. You said The Babadook, Midsummer, Us, which no.
Okay, Us is a good movie.
I'm a Us defender. No.
Sure, no, it's not one of the best horror movies of the 21st century. However, I still love that movie. So,
this guy said this guy said The Mist, Sinister, Hereditary, Get Out, It, The Conjuring, The Ring, Saw, and Train to Busan. Buddy, pick one.
We did not ask you for a top 10.
Anyway, so those are some.
He's trying to get on Screen Rant. He's like, Dex, you see, you can put in a good word for me.
That.
Speaking of, check me out here soon. As soon as I get home from recording this podcast, I'm going to go write an article about Barbarian on Screen Rant. So
you already have one up on Apollo HOU?
Yes.
Yeah, I got a review up on Apollo HOU. Check that out, apollohou.com, as always.
Yeah, so that has been One Take Podcast. Sorry to Tej, we couldn't mess with the audio.
He was missed. I just wanted Tej to be here so bad, and I was just like, please, where is he?
But thank you to Derek.
Please, Gavin.
Thank you to Derek for coming back on for
an
actual good
awesome
movie.
Fine.
Every time we have you on, I'm like, we gotta have Derek on more.
Well, it's like I was thinking about it the other day, and I was like, every time these guys have me on, it's for some dude bro movie that they know I haven't seen, and I'm just gonna make fun of this movie the whole time. But then it was like, for this, I was like, thank God. I was like, I could actually discuss.
That's the fun part. We're gonna have you watch Remember the Titans next.
Okay. I'll listen, and you have to make it as inaccessible for me as possible. You have to talk about football the whole time.
Right. That's the whole point.
Perfect. Go ahead and put me down.
Shout out to Derek. Derek, where can they find your Twitter or anything that you may be writing, reading, or doing?
Yeah, so you can follow me on Twitter at Derek Fultz, DEREKFULTS. And I occasionally have a movie podcast. Just every now and then, stir the plot. I also have a new project coming down the pipeline that I can't really reveal too much about just yet, but it's going to be super fun, and it should be out like the first week of October. So be on the
Sick.
lookout for that. Also, I just want to say this is more so insider baseball for Apollo Media and everyone. I'm back in the Houston area, and I am willing to, as the kids say, slut myself out for Apollo Media. So if you need
Hell
someone,
yeah.
just let
Gang.
me know.
Nice.
Dude, hell yeah.
You're gonna actually be able to get to go on the TikTok that I have been not invited to. So
hey man, look, you come down here
Nah.
and we got time, then we'll do it.
I'm from that neck
Like,
of the woods. It's too humid. I can't do it anymore.
It's
I'm not,
getting better. It's getting better. I'm not like drenched in sweat by the time I get to work. So
yeah, you got to reacclimate. Caitlin and I went down there for my birthday. We're like, Jesus Christ.
I mean, y'all did come in
So
the middle of
bad.
the summer though.
It was so bad.
That's fair. So yeah, you can find all of our stuff at Apollo HOU, apollohou.com, at Apollo HOU on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, as well as
And
TikTok. Yeah, hundreds of thousands of followers on TikTok for
Hell yeah.
hey, do the Rotten Tomatoes thing.
And nothing
doing?
else, bro. Nothing else. Every
What
time
are
we
you doing the
post a
Rotten
video,
Tomatoes thing?
literally
Yeah.
anything else, it's like 5,000 views, 6,000 views, and then we'll post like the Rotten Tomatoes game the next day, and it's like 100,000 views in 2 minutes. Like everyone just hates anything else that we do. They only want us to guess Rotten Tomatoes scores and nothing else.
Play Freebird. I think you can follow us at One Take Pod. You can follow us at One Take Pod on all platforms. There's also like another One Take podcast.
Imposters.
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim. I think.
Yeah, I thought I was going on their podcast. Y'all didn't send me the link early enough, so I was like, I guess I got to go on the other One Take Pod.
Yeah. So shout out to them, I guess, and shout out to the person that added us and was like, "Oh, sorry, I thought you were this better podcast."
No, we are.
No, that's us. Anyway, so shout out to them, but find us at the number One Take Pod on all your platforms. Hey, go like and subscribe for our give us a review. I'm having an aneurysm, guys. Give us a review, like and subscribe on YouTube. Give us a review on Apple as well as Spotify, because you can just swipe 5 stars now on those podcasts. We really appreciate that. Yeah. So Derek, go do that for us, please, and thanks.
Yeah. Absolutely.
But
totally.
You'll be one of the 5 that have done it, but we really appreciate that.
The few, the proud.
It really does help us. So if you've gotten to this point in the podcast, we really appreciate it. And leave us a review, even if you hated it, or maybe don't bring down the algorithm.
Just lie. If you hated it, lie.
Yeah.
If you enjoyed me as a guest, my name is Derek Fultz. If you did not, my name is Tej. So,
so yeah, you can follow us all there. You can follow Tej at the Underhooks Pod, as well as Slander You, putting out college football and fighting content. Dex, what else are you doing as well?
Yeah, like I just told you, I'm writing for Screen Rant. Always working on Apollo shit constantly all the time. So follow Apollo HOU, follow Watch with Apollo, and all the Apollo accounts. You know them, you love them. Go follow them.
There was more since we wrapped up and we didn't cover the Don't Worry Darling slander, I guess, in our last
y'all haven't covered it at all?
We covered it a little bit last week. We I don't know if we need to cover it this week. We're already wrapping up, but
no, get us out of here, dude.
Yeah.
Harry Styles did that. I'll say
Harry Styles sucks.
Absolutely.
He absolutely did that. Allegedly. Knock on wood. Don't sue us. All right. Thank you. Dex, what are we doing though?
# support Florence Pugh, baby. Let's go.
All right. We're out.
Bye.